Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters from anime, series or movies such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today from Naruto Shippuden and Infinity Studios I present to you Sasori of the Red Sand. This is a statue that was done a while ago, and as you can see I got number 262 out of 666, which is a very odd number that they picked for this particular ninja who is from the Akatsuki. Here on the side of the box you can see the Naruto logo. Then at the bottom I think that says Sasori. Then here's the Infinity Studio logo. On the front side of the box, I think that is depicting the tail from the Hiruko puppet used by Sasori. I'm not really sure. Or it can be a nod to the straw hat that the Akatsuki members wore when they traveled. Then on the side it says Infinity Studio. You can see towards the lower bottom that it says I have number 262 out of 666. The box is basically very plain. It's all black. At the bottom you can see some of the Akatsuki clouds. Upon opening the box, you can see the certificate, and you can see that it comes with 2 Velcro straps. Here's the close-up of the logo. Again, here's a look at the Velcro straps that come with it, and this is divided into 3 segments. Here's a content overview of the first section. So here you can see some of the pieces of the puppets. You can see the tail pieces as well as the arms and the weapons. There's Sasori's body. So it's got a lot of pieces. The second layer basically has the base, and it's got the body of the third Kazekage. Here's an overview of all the different pieces. So as you can see, some assembly is required. Here you can see the 3 different hits from Hiruko, Sasori, and the third Kazekage. Here's some of the arm pieces. Sasori's body wearing the Akatsuki cloak. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Here's the weapons coming out of the third Kazekage's arm. Here's the tail to the Hiruko puppet. And just in case you're wondering what the puppet looked like upside down, here it is. Honestly, to me, it reminds me of a turtle. So you have the big mask on the back side, but then you can see the body on the bottom. So there you can look at some of the details, which is something you didn't really get to see in the anime. Here's a close-up of it, just so you could see it. It's not something that you see every day. And here are the details of the base. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to follow me on IG at Titan del 86. Here's what the backside of the base says. So it's got an image of the statue, and then here you can see that I have number 262 out of 666. And I really like how they designed it with the black and red, depicting the whole statue of Sasori standing on top of the Hiruko puppet, and the third Kazekage coming from the backside. Here's a 360 of the statue. So on this one, I'm giving you a close-up look of the Hiruko puppet, which is the first one that we were introduced to when Sasori first made his appearance. This is basically the puppet that Sasori hid under and basically used as his main one. So here you can see the details of the face sculpture. I really like the details that they implemented on the statue. It looks really good. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts. Now here's a close-up of the third Kazekage, which was Sasori's prized possession, and it was a big shocker reveal because this is the third Kazekage that the Sand Village was looking for years. They never knew exactly what happened, they just knew that one day he disappeared. So Grandma Chiyu was extremely surprised when she saw that it was Sasori who was the one involved in his disappearance. Follow me on IG at Titan86. Now here's a close-up of Sasori. And honestly, Sasori is one of my favorite ones, especially his whole story of how he basically became a living puppet, which is taking his ninja art technique to the next level. So here you can kind of see the expression. It is kind of a plain one. So this is Sasori of the Red Sand. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. If you pay close attention to the details, all his puppets had the scorpion on it, which was his logo. Now here's the overview 360 so you can see how big the statue really is. Let me know what are your thoughts on the statue. I know this statue came out a while ago, so I just basically been sitting on it, but today I figured it was the day to let it loose, especially since we're doing the Halloween edition. And what other than Sasori, which he basically strived fierce, especially if you knew the type of puppets that he used. So he was known as the master puppeteer of the Puppet Corps, which was the division of the Sand Village. And he was very feared, that's why they called him Sasori of the Red Sand, which had a very dark meaning, which was the sands that were filled with blood. I really like the details that they did here. He is sculpted very well. I would say Infinity Studios did a really good job at capturing his legacy. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. One improvement I would like to have seen is Sasori used a lot of poison techniques in his puppets. So if you remember from the show, the blades and the battle axe that come out of the third Kazekage, those were coated in purple poison, and so was the tip of Hiruko's puppet, which I don't see that being displayed here, but I think if they would have did that, it would have made the statue a lot better. But other than that, it's a really good statue to have in the collection, especially if you're after all the Akatsuki members. If you remember, the last statue I did was the one also by Infinity Studios, which I wasn't too happy with. I think this one was done way better, which was the one with Itachi and Kisame. And that one, I saw that they missed the mark on a couple of things, but on this one, I think they got it pretty much right. And if you're looking at the timeline, this statue came before that one. Let me know in the comments with your thoughts. The details are really good. I picked Sasori in this particular series because not only did he strike fear in his opponents, it was basically what he did with the bodies of his enemies, which is how he basically turned them all into living puppets, which is basically how he turned the body into a puppet. And with that came all the chakra abilities that that body possessed once it was alive. So that basically gives him that scary horror factor, which is what this whole month's about, because we're approaching close to Halloween, so this is the first one out the gate. So this is none other than Sasori of the Red Sand. Follow me on IG at Titan86. To assemble the statue, even though I didn't see any instructions for it, it was very straightforward. The only thing that I had to figure out was attaching the third Kazekage to the back of Hiruko. I think in that one, it was basically getting the Hiruko tail to match where the third Kazekage statue wanted to lay rest. And then at the end, I was just putting the Sasori figure into the remaining space. I think there's a little bit of difference in the dimensions because if you notice closely, they're very tight and they're all leaning towards the Kazekage statue. So on this one, on the assembly, I will give it a 2 out of 10. It wasn't that difficult. Also, the figure itself is not too heavy. My recommendation is when you pick it up, just be very mindful of the third Kazekage's body because he is only retained by a small portion of it. So you probably want to pick it up by the back side of the base while still being mindful of how you put the pressure when you carry the statue around.
First, I drain its blood. Then I remove all the organs and wash it inside and out. Make it nice and clean.
Now here's a close-up of the statue, just so you can see all the little details that Infinity Studios put on the statue. So here's a close-up of Hiruko. I know it's really hard to see, but I'm trying to give you a nice good view of his face. But just because of the angle, it's very difficult. But here you can see the figure in its entirety. Here's the back side of it. And here you can kind of see how the figure is attached to the base. Here's a close-up of the base. Follow me on IG at Titán86. Now here's a close-up of the tail that's coming out of the Hiruko puppet. You can see how it wraps around and goes around the Kazekage. It's got this small pin here that is attached to it. I'm not really sure if it's fully there or not, but that is a very, very delicate area. So just be mindful when you're assembling yours. Here's a close-up of the third Kazekage's weapons. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Here you can see the fine details that he has, especially of all the little mechanisms that they added to him. This is a top view of the statue, just so you can see it in more detail. And here's the backside of the third Kazekage. Now you can see the details of Sasori in his Akatsuki cloak. There are the arms and the full details there. And I really like the details that they did on the statue. They're really good and they're laid out well. Let me know in the comments with your thoughts. Don't forget to follow me on IG at Titán86. And once again, this is the first character out of our Halloween special, none other than Sasori of the Red Sand. Hope you enjoyed it. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new one. Thank you and bye.